Am I broke? Or is everyone else just faking it? Can she really afford that lifestyle? Or is she just bad with her money? Is there a right way to spend your money? Or do we all just need to mind our business? In this essay. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're good, hope you're well. Today we are talking money, luxury living, the fact that everybody seems to be doing it, the pressure that it puts on us, the pressure to stunt, the need to stunt, why we do it, and as always, some encouragement. Before I get into the video, please subscribe if you're not already. Thank you so much to all my new subscribers. I really appreciate you, and let's get into the video. Keeping up with the Joneses, we all know that phrase. It literally meant to keep up with your neighbor. Your neighbor has a manicured lawn. Now you need a manicured lawn. Your neighbor just bought a new Jag. Now your car looks like crap. Well, social media always pops up. Social media has taken keeping up with the Joneses to a whole new level. Now we have about 100,000 neighbors. All of them are going on exotic holidays. They're unboxing Chanel bags. They're sitting on top of their Range Rover. They are eating duck salad at Hakkasan with their Hermes bag next to them. And basically they're telling you that unless you earn more than 100K, you, my friend, are a brokey. But why? Why? But why? Simple. We like to brag. We love it. Bragging is such an ingrained human behavior that we start doing it at just 9 months old. Bragging, showing off, it activates a part of the brain known as the Mesolimbic pathway, aka the reward pathway, which explains why 80% of our social media uploads are about us. We love to talk about ourselves. A Harvard study shows that the pleasure that we derive from talking about ourselves is greater than the pleasure we get from money. A study showed that people were willing to give up 17% of this reward money just for a chance to talk about themselves more. This is why, yeah, when we ask the question, oh, would you rather have fame or money? And everyone's like, money, obviously money. I don't know, you know. I actually think a lot of people would forego fortune if the condition of that fortune was that you could not show anybody what you're up to with that money. So anyway, we know bragging is a thing. Companies know bragging is a thing. That's why you get fancy packaging so you can unbox it on camera. That's why you get hashtags and Instagram handles on packaging. That's why new restaurants, hotels are being built with Instagrammable aesthetics in mind. That's why we have photo walls in your favorite cafe, because obviously marketers are caught onto the fact that they can use our desire to brag, our desire to constantly showcase ourselves as a marketing tactic. So all social media has done is exposed the extent to which we will go to keep up with the Joneses when the Joneses are everywhere. As our number of connections increase through social media, we start to feel like we're talking to an audience. Researchers call this broadcasting. And when we broadcast, we tend to share more self-promotional content. So when we live in a world that teaches us that success is measured by the amount of material possessions, the amount of wealth that you have, keeping up with the Joneses literally looks like us trying to make ourselves appear that we have more material possessions than the next person. And even if you believe that success isn't that, you believe that success comes from non-material possessions, we still see people bragging on social media, trying to make themselves look like they have a better family, that they're more popular, that they're booed up, that they have a happier life than the next person. Still keeping up with the Joneses. Basically anything to make your life appear better than the average neighbor. And if we were to continue breaking it down, then we'd have to dip into social and cultural pressures like not feeling like a man if you haven't achieved a certain amount of wealth, not feeling like a woman if you're not adorned in the most luxurious items, not feeling like you made it in life if you're a certain age and you're unmarried and childless. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that everyone that dates their life on social media is doing it to keep up with the Joneses. I'm not saying that. And I'm also not saying that the whole keeping up with the Joneses thing comes from like a malicious kind of Desperate Housewife, Wisteria Lane type of vibe. I think most of it is done more subconsciously and probably from a place of insecurity. Conspicuous consumption, that is the phrase. Buying stuff to impress other people is known as conspicuous consumption. So the term was coined way back in 1899 as a way to describe the behavior characteristics of the nouveau riche, the new rich, basically, the new money people. And it was the way that they used to use their public consumption of goods and services, material goods and services, to like manifest their societal status and their richness in society, social power and prestige, kind of like new money kids do now. Back then, obviously, you either had money or you didn't. Nowadays, you have credit cards, you have buy now, pay later, you have fake stuff. And so it's much easier for people to spend money that they don't have to appear richer than they are. So psychologists say it's actually our animal brain that kicks in when it comes to spending money and comparing ourselves to other people. Subconsciously, we as humans look around us to other people for confirmation of our social and economic status. And now in modern times, those signals come in the form of houses, cars, material possessions. So where peacocks flaunt their feathers, peacock feathers, lions flaunt their manes, we as humans, we flaunt our material possessions. You know, gone are the days where we would fight to the death to know who the alpha male is. Now it's just whoever has the shiniest watch. So it doesn't make rational sense, but the animal brain that psychologists mention basically makes us feel like, you know, if we're not keeping up with the Joneses, we're going to be left behind. We're going to be, you know, the one that's eaten, the weakest link gets eaten. Obviously, rationally speaking, that's not what's going to happen. But when our animal brain kicks in, it's like a survival instinct for us to keep up or surpass the Joneses. And these things that we think we need, they're basically called wealth signals. So they're things that we think, or the things that do tell other people what kind of social status, social class we're in, and where we rank in society. And like I said, back in the day, you would only look at your neighbors to know, to have to compare yourself to. But nowadays we have TV, we have social media, we can compare ourselves to hundreds and thousands and millions of people. And given our tendency to compare ourselves to other people, we only feel like we're successful if that success is relative to the people that we're comparing ourselves to. So take me for example, statistically speaking, I'm doing pretty well for my age, right? The stats would say I am above average for my age in terms of wealth, material possessions, income. But if I was to compare myself to Twitter, where apparently everyone is on 100K, then I'm a brokey. And if I was to compare myself to Instagram, where every other person on my feed is unboxing a luxury bag, which in my head, I'm like, oh no, I can't afford a luxury bag or justify buying a luxury bag, then I'm a brokey. This can be dangerous for some obvious reasons. Firstly, mental health. We know money has a big impact on our mental well-being. We know that money is like the number one cause of divorce, therefore it obviously has a big impact on our psyche and on our mental health. And as I've just mentioned, you know, feeling like you're left behind in terms of social status, in terms of economic status, that can obviously have a big effect on our mental health, a negative impact on our mental health. Seeing people going on holiday every other day, seeing people buy luxury or appear to buy luxury items every other day, if you are influenced enough, can of course make you feel like you're not doing enough in your life. And then of course there's the financial health. 50% of us, half of us spend more than we earn in a month. And so factually speaking, most of us, I'm not talking about people in poverty of course, but most of us can afford what we need. What you define as what you need is a gray area. Do you know what I mean? Because technically we need food, we need shelter. But what does that mean? You can have tuna in a cardboard box? Obviously not. There's levels. There's levels to what you describe as food and shelter, okay? And obviously that's just taken into account the physical needs that we have as human beings, but then there's the emotional needs of having a comfortable house, of having enough space, of having nutritious food. So when I say we can, for the most part, afford what we need, I'm speaking very literally. But even when we move past that, I'd say a lot of us, statistically speaking, a lot of us can afford what we need and what we would be somewhat comfortable with if it were not for the pressure of seeing everybody else having more. Like, you'd be very comfortable in that. But like I said, 50% of us, we spend more, not every month, but we spend more than we earn. Some months we are in credit card debt. We're buying things that we just necessarily don't need for the sake of stunting, for the sake of feeling as though we are keeping up with the Joneses, basically. And then I think, morally speaking, there is the argument as to whether it is even okay to lie about how much money you have. We know by now that a lot of influencers or wannabe influencers create a perception of themselves that's not true. They create a lifestyle, a luxury lifestyle that if you were to do the math is not mathing. And we know, I mean, I think most of us know that this happens, right? They maybe buy fake designer, they maybe go to Selfridges to buy a Primark top to make it appear as though they're shopping in Selfridges every day, those sorts of things, right? And then there's the argument as to whether or not that is okay. I'm on the fence. No, am I on the fence? I don't know, I haven't really thought about it, but it is a bit of a spectrum argument, because on one hand you might say, what do you mean? Like, they're not doing anything illegal, they're not flipping, do you know what I mean? They're not doing anything crazy, they're just creating an online lifestyle or online persona that they want to portray. And we already know that social media is a highlights reel, and so what is wrong with people creating this perception of themselves? On the flip side, you can argue that no, morally speaking, it is incorrect, because it's maybe a lie, especially if that lie, made up whatever, is what's creating influence, what's giving them the influence to influence others to spend money, because it looks like they're spending all this money on stuff when they're not. So people who are a bit less informed are actually spending their money on the real designer stuff, are actually going, feeling like they need to go to Selfridges because you're promoting it. These times, that's not the lifestyle you're living. So there's also that sort of moral debate as to whether that's right or whether that's wrong. That slightly leads me off into a tiny tangent, and then I'll come back. And it's a question that I don't really have the answer to, but it's basically, is there a right way to spend your money? That's the question I was asking myself as I was planning this video. I was thinking, am I gonna get into, is there a right way to spend your money? Am I gonna share my opinion on this is actually the correct way to spend your money, and this is maybe a silly or not very wise way to spend your money? Because sometimes I feel like hating on people who seem to have maybe what you want or have material things. I feel like sometimes that could be masked, and it could be masked as concern or pity or looking down on the person for not spending their money in the smart way. How many times have you heard people say, oh my days, all these people spending money on Rolexes, but do you have a house though? Are you investing though? Do you have a pension scheme? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you're just being a hater and you want to mask it as that. That's how I feel sometimes, right? Because I do feel like sometimes hating on someone who has all these, or appears to have all these material possessions, can sometimes be masked as concern or pity or looking down on that person because they're spending frivolously instead of doing what you deem to be smart with their money, which is buying a house or investing or giving. Who decided that renting a new flat that you love is stupid, but getting tied into a 30-year mortgage is a smart thing to do, even though in some societies people think having a mortgage is stupid? Do you know what I mean? These are rules that we've made up, but I do feel like there's a bit of a snooty attitude towards the way other people spend their money, but you don't know if they've decided, actually no, spending on short-term happiness, like, or, you know, living the life I want to live is actually more important to me than getting a mortgage. Just throwing that out there because it's something that I thought about. But circling back to the topic at hand, I have definitely seen a rise in people living what appears to be a very luxurious life. And yes, I think it can pressure us. And even if it doesn't influence you to go out and spend money that you don't have, I do feel like it can have a psychological effect on us, even if it is a small, like, subconscious one. So what do? Firstly, remember that social media is fake. Even if it's not fake, it is a highlight reel. Or even if it's not fake, and even if it's not a highlight reel, even if this person lives like this every day and that is their life and that is their level of income, it's not you. In this world, there's always going to be people that have more than you. There's going to be people that have less than you. And it is what it is. And all you can really do is focus on your own grass and watering your own grass and trying to achieve what you want to achieve, not based on what your next door neighbor or everyone on social media is doing. I think I'm going to do a video on that because comparison, really and truly, I've been thinking about it a lot. I feel like I've been feeling it a lot. Comparison, and also basically just not caring so much about what other people think. I'm gonna do a video on that. Let me add that to my notes. But moving on, like I said, decide what's important to you and try to focus on that. And when I say decide what's important on you, I'm saying outside of the influence of other people. My friend said that her therapist asked her the question, if you didn't have to tell anybody what you did for a living, what would you do? And I thought, rah, We should really apply this thinking to other areas of our life as well, because it's so true. If people didn't ask you, what do you do for a living? Would you still want to be a lawyer? Would you still want to be an engineer? Like, is that actually what you'd want to do? Like, would you actually want an Hermes bag if other people didn't covet an Hermes bag and if it wasn't a big wealth status symbol because of how much it costs? Because me personally, I feel like an Hermes bag looks very, it just looks very plain and basic to me. It's not something I'll see in Primark, for example, and look at the bag and think, oh, what a great bag. That's me, because just, I don't know. I don't have an eye for quality, this luxury thing. So I honestly would not know. If it wasn't for the Hermes whatever on it and the fact that I've seen the bag, I probably wouldn't know that is a high quality bag. That is me. I've heard or seen some people that actually know about their stuff and they're like, nah, love this bag, I would spend money on it. And fair enough, but you have to ask yourself the question, do you like it because you like it, or do you like it because the influencers told you to like it? Would you even want to pay the amount of money that it takes to pay for a luxury item if you could not post it on social media? That is a question you need to ask yourself. Again, I know some people who have designer items and you don't even know it's designer items. Some people like the the monograms and stuff. I'm not judging either one, but I'm saying you should really ask yourself, would you want to spend this money on this thing if no one would ever know, or you wouldn't be able to post it on social media? I know that's a bit of a trick question, because technically we do everything to an extent for the perception of other people. Because why am I wearing makeup? Would I be wearing makeup if this was a podcast and not a video? No, I wouldn't, because, you know, perception. So it is a bit of a trick question, but I just think it's something that you need to think about. If the answer is like, never in a million years would I buy this thing if I couldn't post it on social media, you do have to question if you even like that thing, or if you are just keeping up with the Joneses. And then I would say, don't go broke impressing irrelevant people. We know the saying, we buy things we don't need with money we don't have to impress people we don't like. It's a cliche saying, but honestly, it is so true. Don't let the Forex traders and the Twitter entrepreneurs bamboozle you out of your savings for that thing that you decided before you even knew they existed. You decided this is what you wanted your money to go towards. Don't let them bamboozle you, because first of all, they don't care about you. And second of all, if they did and they care only about your material possessions, and that's what's going to get you where you need to go in terms of their eyes, there's just no, what do you reap? What do you reap from that? You get a sense of satisfaction, like I said, that, what was that part of the brain, something, you get that, but that's it. And finally, I feel like this is a really important one, but try to be happy for people. I think this whole keeping up with the Joneses thing and this whole pressure to stunt, and everybody's stunting on social media, or maybe they're not even stunting, everybody's just showcasing their real life and it happens to look in your eyes a bit better than yours. I think we need to practice being happy for people, because bitterness can definitely come up from that. I've started practicing this whenever I feel any type of way. If the tiniest bit of anything that's not positive comes up in my mind when I see someone's content, I force myself to say something nice instead, whether it's just in my head or whether it's actually on the post. I force myself to say something nice that's not fake. It just wasn't my first response, because if my first response is anything but positive, right, and really and truly they're not doing anything wrong, as in there's a difference between me being like, oh, that's an outrage, and me just being like, what else can it be but jealousy? Well, you really have to be humble and call it an ace? No, wow. Call a spade a spade. We have to call spades spades. And I think a lot of the hateration or the feeling that we get, the insecurity that we get from seeing other people living a lavish life is jealousy. And jealousy can lead to bitterness for sure, if it remains unchecked. And so I've started practicing saying something nice. If I scroll and someone's living a luxury life and something stirs up inside of me, I say, wow, what a nice outfit she's got on, or what nice hair. Wow, that destination looks so great. I'm so happy for that person. If this was my bestie, I would be like, yes, live your best life. So why should it be any different for this stranger that I don't know? Basically, train your brain not to be a hater, because the thought of me being a hater makes me feel a bit, I don't like that. So in conclusion, you're not crazy. You're not some a stupid, gullible person for trying to keep up with the Joneses, for feeling a type of way or feeling pressure from the amount of people that seem to be living that 100k plus lifestyle on social media. It is in our nature, it is in our psyche to want to do better than the average person. And if those things motivate you to work hard, because I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I see someone living a life that I want to live, or type of lifestyle that I want to live, and it can be motivating. So there's that. But I would just say, yeah, maybe put some of these things into practice. Understand that, yes, whilst keeping up with the Joneses is a psychological thing that happens automatically, you have self-control over that. And think for yourself. I feel like that's a common theme in my recent videos. Think for yourself. Yeah, that is all I have to say on the matter. Hope you enjoyed that video, guys, and as always, check out some of my recent videos, and I will see you on my next video. Like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think. Love to hear from you always. Bye, guys.